adjust. Yeah, we're good. I think it looks great.
Is it gonna make that noise every time?
Every time you do that.
So I'm gonna make sure I take lots of tiny sips.
Lots of sips.
Yeah,
you have to put it down quietly.
I don't know.
Oh my gosh, is it ever loud? Well, it's really loud in our ears. That's why.
I don't know. It's not too bad. I've got my toque covering my ears, so.
I like that. All right, we'll do a little intro and then everything begins. Ladies and gentlemen, in my house today, from the Game of Thrones, the Jimmy Kimmel Show. With over 20,000 subscribers on YouTube, it's Steve Love.
I forgot I did all that shit.
Yeah, I know. We all, you know what? I looked on YouTube yesterday to see the stuff. It's very good. You weren't just an extra on Game of Thrones, but you were in a scene.
Yeah, like lines and everything, dialogue coaching. They wanted me to get that Cockney accent right, which I still didn't get right.
Cockney accent, which is from...
You know what a Cockney accent is? Like sort of like a lower class East London type. Excuse me.
Okay.
I'm trying to like, right, you got a pencil there, governor, but a go, like that sort of thing.
So hold on a second. You had, how many lines did you have?
Oh God, who's counting, right? I think in the final cut, like the one that made it to air, I think I had 3 lines.
Which is more than me. 3 more than me.
Well, fuck. I mean, I honestly, I was more excited about going over there and just doing it than whatever the role in the show was going to be. If they had told me that, I kind of already knew because I had the script. I knew I was going to be the guy who got fingered in the butthole and stuff like that. That's not really
right up your alley.
That's. They went up my alley, and it was honestly, it was the most fun thing ever. Like I didn't like going over and doing it and meeting the people and getting the fucking. I should really watch my number of F-bombs that I drop.
I have no idea. We'll just see what happens.
It's just a reflex. It's just how I stall for time.
Yeah, you're a young lad. You swear a lot.
I do.
How old are you?
27. Wow. I just turned 27, January 14th.
January 14th. Happy birthday. It's fairly recently.
I don't know. It's February now. I mean, right. I don't know. But
right.
I appreciate that because you didn't write on my wall or anything. So.
Oh, I don't do that to anybody. Could you imagine if you did that for everybody? You'd be doing that all day long. You have to limit your
I limit it to good friends, and I guess we're not good friends.
I'll be doing that every day from now on because every day it's someone's birthday.
How many Facebook friends do you have?
40,000.
You have 40?
No, I don't. I have 4,000. Just a close circle of friends.
Right. Well, and it's everyone who's ever seen you do comedy. Like they look you up on if they like That's you, right. They'll look you up on Facebook, and it's like they don't look for your even if you have like a fan page, which I have and never use.
Yes.
They'll just add you as a friend because I'm visible. It's Steve Love on Facebook. Like anybody can add me, right? So,
is that your real name, Steve Love?
Yes, it's
a great name.
Yeah, it is. It's a pretty sweet name. My fucking granddaddy brought it over from Ireland, and my dad went with it. My dad's name is Robin Love, which is a pretty just an even better name, really.
It is a great name, Robin Love. It's like a
Robin Love,
a poet.
Or like an Irish poet, or like if you had it with like the feminine version, like ROBYN, then you got yourself a porn star. That's a porn star name.
Robin Love. There probably already is one.
My name is Robin Love, and I'm a ball hog.
So okay, I have no idea what that means. So Game of Thrones. Let's get back to that because that's a super exciting thing. It's something that's huge that's happened in your life. You'll always remember it. It's gotten you a lot of attention in this world, and. How did it start? It started with impressions. Yeah,
I've always done the impressions like as just a way to entertain my friends.
Mm-hmm. What was your first one?
Oh fuck. Well, I guess it would be something from Family Guy. I think it was like the Herbert Family Guy impression, like the old man who goes like, "Hey Chris, got a whole cellar full of popsicles." Mm-hmm. And so I would do that for my friends, and then like as we got into high school, it got a lot more popular because all of a sudden everybody's a stoner, and like when you're just starting out as a stoner, things that are trippy are extra trippy. So people loved hearing the old man impression.
Yeah.
And so, and like that branched out. I did like, I don't know, like every couple of months there would be a new one in the catalog, and then eventually I just had a bunch of them. And then by the time I got to university, my friends were always asking for impressions when we were drinking or doing whatever. And then one day a guy was like, you should put that on YouTube. Like that would make money. And since I was on my way out of school without a diploma because I was such a bad student.
What did you take at the university?
I was a history major.
Okay. Which
was probably a mistake, but the social sciences department at my high school was so good they made me want to do what they do. Anyways, it took me away from the path of wanting to be an entertainer, and it's like this is sort of this will be my plan B or whatever. And eventually I just realized that I was just like, no, I want to do comedy and acting and writing and stuff. But anyway, the guy told me to put it on YouTube, and then when I did it, I was like, well, let's see where this goes. And actually, like the first one where I did a bunch of different impressions, the video is called Drunk Impressions because we'd just gotten back from the strip club, and we were pretty drunk, and my friend was there with his girl, and he was like, you need to do impressions for us. And so I go to my other buddy. I'm like, Taylor, get the camera, we'll film it just in case. So we put that stuff together into a 3-4 minute video, and then I look like a day after I posted it, and it's like, oh, it has 300,000 views.
Whoa.
So that stuff happens overnight, and it's like, and all of a sudden people would recognize me because it was like on like some website called Bro Bible was like, hey, this guy from Queens does all these impressions. So like all of a sudden everyone from Queens is like, hey, it's like,
yeah.
Women would throw themselves at you.
I've seen it.
Of course, you know better than anyone.
I've seen them throw themselves at you, not me.
Oh, so no, I thought you were talking about like football, or firefighters.
Yeah, totally.
Do you ever do calendars for firefighting? By the way.
Yeah. I have I have an advent calendar.
All right, let's take a look after we're done here.
So so you put it on YouTube. How long ago was this?
This was 2012.
2012,
yeah.
So 6 years ago.
Pre-apocalypse.
And what was the means of distribution? Like, where did you, like, it can't just be on YouTube, like somewhere else to get people's attention? You mentioned a website.
This was a different era. Like, it was like Twitter was like the thing. Mm-hmm. Like Instagram had just come out. Okay. Like these sort of means of distribution you're talking about, it wasn't the same. So basically people would just go on YouTube and look for things. Okay. Right? So I didn't distribute it at all. I maybe shared it on my Facebook page. I probably didn't want my parents to see it at the time. Yeah. But I don't know. I wasn't trying to spread it out there. I didn't have any like subscribers. I don't know how it was just one of those things where you just put something out there and the right people found it, shared it, whatever. Yeah. And yeah. So YouTube was like another example of that was when I did my Game of Thrones impression video for my first one. Jimmy Kimmel got it. Jimmy Kimmel found it and tweeted it, and that like quadrupled the viewership. Yeah. You know?
So the first one you had, the drunken impressions, that like right now has over 1 million views.
I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure. I looked at it yesterday, and I was like, wow, that's
I think it does, yeah.
Unbelievable. And then so
I really should have like checked my stats before.
You know what you really should do? You should still be doing like a daily Steve Love. This is some impressions. This is like on a daily basis.
I know. It's just I just don't know if that's sustainable, because like how many times can you listen to the same, Matthew McConaughey, all right. Like,
it's funny every time. Like, if
for some people, but I find it's a matter of taste. Some people really like it, and some people are just like, well, that was all right.
Yeah, well, there's like over 1 million people who are at least engaging in it in that one video, which is an incredible feat. And the 20,000 subscribers. Okay, I started this on YouTube many years ago. I've never done anything but just upload just videos that have people have no interest in, obviously, because I have 90 subscribers, but I'm working on it.
What kind of stuff do you put?
Wow, I used to have an exercise business, and I would put exercise stuff up so that people can go. And I'm a motivational speaker, so I put up testimonials and things. And it was all stuff that was linked through my website, so that people would go to my website to check me out for a speech, and then they would, click on a link, and it would take them to YouTube. And so it was for that purpose. It wasn't to try and get viewers or anything. I'm just sort of getting into that world now and realizing how it changes daily what works on YouTube and Facebook, right? The algorithms, Facebook changes their rules on a weekly basis about what you can do and what they want to do and their goals, right? If you put a YouTube link on Facebook, they're not going to let a lot of people see it because they want people to stay on Facebook, right?
Yeah.
So you need to do something different. Put a video. They want video. Facebook wants to be the place where you watch video, right? So,
and what a lot of people have told me is, instead of having the YouTube clip just sort of copy and paste it into your status update,
yes,
you should upload the video directly to Facebook so that it autoplays.
Yes,
that's the key to getting views, is that autoplay. And then once it's already streaming on their device, they're just like, oh, might as well turn the sound on, I guess.
That's
and
right.
then they hear like this, well, that was enjoyable.
Yeah, or you can put on Facebook, hey, here's Steve Love, here's a little teaser of what's on YouTube, right? And here's the link to, or you can't put a link, but you can put what your YouTube channel is at the end, and then they'll hopefully, write it down and go there and then subscribe, because you can't subscribe through a Facebook link to YouTube.
And if I had a studio like this, I would be doing a lot more stuff.
You should.
Because I love this studio, man.
Yeah.
From I can't, like, that Gord Downey portrait. I can't. It's too good.
It's a painting.
It's too good.
It's a painting from wine.
They used wine?
It's wine, painted with wine. And it's amazing. Yeah, I love it. That's a chandelier that was in this house originally in a different location, and I thought looked really cool in the background.
Yeah, it sure does.
Yeah. And lots of other cool things that people can't see.
And you have your practice jersey up there.
Right. That's a game jersey from the Houston Oilers.
So Houston Oilers, when did you play with them?
97.
97, right? 97. So you played with McNair, right?
Air McNair. Todd McNair, who was known as Spare McNair, in case Steve McNair wasn't able to play. Which is a good one.
You would have played with Eddie George too?
Eddie George was there the next year in 98. So yeah, I was there a little bit with Eddie George for sure. Very quiet guy. Didn't talk to him much. He didn't talk to him a lot of people. He was sort of in his zone. He was very focused. He
seems like a very intense individual. Because he truck guys for a living.
Unbelievable.
He was a very good football player.
Yeah, for sure.
And I watched. You ever watch A Football Life on NFL Network?
Sometimes, yeah. Yeah,
I watched the one on Steve McNair. I watched the one on Eddie George. So McNair is this really tragic story.
Yes, he ended very tragically.
Yeah, but he seemed like he was really, really, really well respected and admired guy.
I think so.
Do you have any Steve McNair stories?
Yeah, super nice guy. His locker was right directly behind me. We were both rookies the same year, so we would always just sort of sit there and talk to each other quite a bit. His older brother played in the CFL for the Toronto Argonauts, so he would always talk to me about Canada. And just a super nice guy. A couple years later, I went back to visit a friend of mine still playing for the team, Mark Stepnoski.
My boy.
Your boy.
My boy.
Your boy. There's his Stepnoski jersey right there. Eddie George signed it. Steve McNair signed it.
Dude, Steps is my guy.
Yeah, he's the coolest guy I ever met, Mark Stepnoski, for sure. So we're back to visit Mark Stepnoski in Tennessee. Somewhere. Anyway, so night before the game, so Mark's not with us. He's at home sleeping, me and a couple buddies who are in town to visit. And we pull into this place in Nashville. I guess it was Nashville.
I love Nashville.
I think the team played Memphis. No, they played in Memphis for a year.
Yes, they did.
That's right.
And then they moved to Nashville.
So it was in Memphis. And we're just looking for a place to have a drink late at night. literally pull down this alley. We see a sign for like a little small hole in the wall, parked car, hardly anybody around. We get in there, very dark club. There's like a jazz musician playing, whatever. I go to the bar to get some drinks. I'm sitting there and I hear Hatfield. I'm like, what? Who could know me? I look down the bar, night before the NFL game, Hatfield. And it's Steve McNair sitting at the bar having a drink by himself. Just need to get away, take it easy, and just happened to walk into the same place that him. I imagine I was close to the hotel or something, or I don't even know if we were at a hotel. But, just coincidental still, obviously, and recognized me, and it was a few years later.
This is definitely before his DUI.
Or maybe it was the night of his DUI. I have no idea. It was definitely the night before a few things. But, I mean, he went on to, amazing Super Bowl year, MVP of the league, great guy, great athlete, and met an unfortunate end to his life. And I think he retired at that point, too, right? Like, so he was living the dream, right? Bank account full of money.
Well, who knows, right?
Who knows?
Who knows, right? Who knows how much of that money goes to them? Who goes to the handlers and the... Uncle Sam.
Could be. Okay, so Ottawa, born and raised.
One last question about McNair.
Yeah, we can get back to that.
Is it true that I just want one more question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is it true that he took a nap before every game?
I don't know. I mean, everybody takes naps before games.
Really?
Yeah, that's what you do.
I'm not a napper.
Really?
I've never been a napper.
So in the NFL on game day, which is almost ridiculous, and often, believe it or not, I wasn't playing. I was on the practice roster in Miami, and so definitely not playing. But you'd travel with the team. Yeah. And so you'd be in this 5-star hotel, and every morning they would have a breakfast for you, like a breakfast buffet. I've never seen one like it since.
Like catered or like,
super catered. Yeah. You walk into this ballroom of a fancy hotel, and there's just a mountain of food.
A ballroom full of ballers, yeah.
Ballers. But no, the thing is, nobody would eat. Okay, they all got a big game to play. Nobody, there'd be me and the other guys who weren't playing, chowing down on the most ridiculous, au jus carved roast beef waffles, the whole bit. Wow. And it would go uneaten.
You got to stay in offensive line shape.
You got to stay in offensive line shape. Yeah. But that's what it was like for games where I didn't play. And it was an unreal, and the pressure wasn't there because you didn't have to perform. So you'd just be, imagine that you're just along for the ride.
You're in street clothes even. You're not even suited up. Right?
You're in street clothes. You wear like team gear.
Yeah.
For sure.
What's it called? It's called athletic something.
Yeah. And back then they didn't have the iPads and stuff like that. So they would have a printout of every play. Like they would have a camera up in the sky taking the picture. Yeah. And then there would be a machine on the bench.
And so you had to run.
So that would be my job, is to go get the thing, take a look at it, and if you saw anything different, point it out to people.
They couldn't get the practice squad DB or wide receiver to do that for you?
No, it's because you're learning too, right? You're learning about defensive fronts and how guys are handling situations. But that was, you put a little bit of chewing tobacco in your mouth and you feel like you're on top of the world, and watching an NFL game from, an inch away. I was there...
You still make a pretty good paycheck for practice squad, right?
Unbelievable.
You still make league minimum at least.
Yeah,
right?
I believe at the time it was like $4,000 American a week.
Yeah, that's not bad.
But the thing is, the practice roster guy, well, besides the game, would work the hardest, which is true in every occupation, right? The rookie always works the hardest, but like you do offense, defense, special teams. I left every day of practice in Miami and felt like I played a week worth of football. Yeah. And I also felt like I got hit by a car.
Yeah, because you're everywhere, and you're the. They call you a practice squad for a reason. You're like the scout team, right?
You are the scout team.
You're playing against the starters, and they're going to beat up on
Richmond
you.
Webb. You remember that guy?
Who's Richmond? Which
left
team
tackle for the Miami Dolphins, 6'8", just the most gifted athlete I ever seen. Enormous. Left tackle.
Marino's blindside.
So here I am. A week earlier I'd been released from the Detroit Lions. Life is what's going to happen now. I don't know. So you make the team, and a week later you're pass rushing Richmond Webb to get to Dan Marino, and your coach is Mean Joe Greene and Don Shula. Yeah, the D-line coach there was Mean Joe Greene.
So Don Shula. You mean to tell me Don Shula put Mean Joe Greene on his coaching staff?
Yes.
But they hated each other, right?
I don't know about that.
Steelers, Dolphins, 70s, they were at each other's throats almost every year, right?
Mean Joe Greene was like the nicest, friendliest person you ever
he's,
met.
He's not mean at all.
Super nice guy.
But then you also see clips of him like elbowing guys for no reason,
Unbelievable.
kicking guys in the nuts. Like
He is not mean Joe Greene.
he's just regular Joe.
He's regular Joe Greene, which is not a great name for a football
No,
player, Joe
yeah,
Greene.
Mean Joe really rolls off the tongue a
Yeah,
lot better.
it's a lot
Mean
cooler.
Joe Greene.
It is a lot cooler.
Or you could just say like Moody Joe Greene.
Moody, for sure.
Moody Joe
Or
Greene. Like
just
he's
a big
normally
game.
really nice, but when you get him on game day, he gets a little crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's under a lot of pressure.
It is a lot of pressure, for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm
And he wanted a Coke
huge-
too, wasn't it? About the Coke, Pepsi? I don't even remember.
Yeah, no, he was like coming off the field. It was a Coke commercial, right?
Yeah. Hey kid, you want my Coke?
No, the kid was like, great game, Joe. He's like, yeah, whatever, kid, fuck you.
Right.
And then the kid's like, you want some of my Coke? And he's like, yeah, all right.
There's more. And he goes, hey kid, and the kid turns
Yeah.
around, and he throws him his jersey.
Yeah. I think I watched the thing on the making of that commercial. He chugged about like 60 Cokes or something.
Yeah.
I'm exaggerating, but
A lot of Coke. Coke was
yeah,
different back
no,
then.
yeah, the Steelers did enjoy their Coke.
For sure.
Coca-Cola.
Yeah. And okay, so let's get back to it. You're from Ottawa. High school? What's
Canada, but don't
Canada? Okay.
Don't hold that against me.
Yeah, so you went to Earl of March? I have no idea.
Yeah, Earl of March.
Is that right?
Yeah. How'd you guess?
That's the only thing high school I can think of in Canada.
Nice. Yeah. There's All Saints, and basically, you have the Puck Bunny factories of All Saints and Holy Trinity, the Catholic schools, basically.
Okay.
And then you have Earl of March in the north side, and then A.Y. Jackson in the south side.
Okay.
So basically, Earl of March is sort of like it's got a bit of everything. It's got good academics, it's got good arts, and there's also lots of people who deal drugs and stuff. So it's like is a good party school, is a good school to just go to school, you know.
You sound like a guidance counselor. This is we got enough drug dealers
Well,
to keep you
shit.
happy, son.
Yeah. No, yeah. It's like, you know, you ever need like a little study, relaxing thing, you know?
Okay.
Talk to Omar.
Omar. So brothers and sisters?
I got a younger brother. He's 18 months younger than me, so we're I guess that makes us Irish twins.
Mm-hmm.
I heard that expression for the first time in my life, like earlier this year, and I'm like, yeah, you guys are Irish twins. I'm like, oh, I guess we are.
That means born within 2 years of each other?
Yeah, or within 18 months or something.
Okay.
So we're just barely.
And so when did the entertainment thing start? You're saying that's sort of what you want to do in your life, what you've been doing?
Yeah, so that started as a kid. Like I started watching Jim Carrey movies. So I watched Liar Liar, and I wanted to be a lawyer.
Okay.
Then I watched Ace Ventura and wanted to be a detective, not necessarily a pet detective, although that would have been cool. But I was realistic. And then like I kept watching Jim Carrey movies and realized that I didn't want to be any of those things. I wanted to be Jim Carrey. So that's sort of when it started for me, was with this. And I started, you know, get my parents to sign me up for acting classes and summer camps and stuff like that. And then grade 8, I got the lead in the school play, a little musical called Little Luncheonette of Terrors. Me and Susie JVR were the fucking leads in that. Great piece of theater. High school, I didn't do any of the musicals. I tried out for the high school musical in grade 9.
Okay.
Thought I crushed it. Didn't get an actual part. They put me on chorus. So I would go to rehearsals and like learn dance steps and the backup vocals of the different songs, and I was just like, no, I don't. This is not worth my time. So that I just didn't do it for the rest of high school. Even though I was taking drama every year, I never did improv team, never did high school musicals. Just kept doing drama classes and like loving it, and then after university, I was doing the impressions and stuff, and then realized that.
So you failed it, like you didn't graduate university. Is that true?
That is true.
Okay.
I did not graduate university.
Okay, so you did a couple years.
Did a couple years, and I was not in a good place emotionally, physically, Like there'd been issues in my family and in my personal life. I wasn't liking myself, and it just wasn't working for me over there at Queens. So
you went to Queens?
Yeah, but I didn't graduate. So
but you did really well in high school then.
I did, yeah, I did. I was a good student in high school because I had my parents breathing down my neck. Not even necessarily that. It was just like there was more structure in high school. You go, you go to class, you do the work, because like if the work is like, there's a certain threshold of like where there's too much reading for me. You know what I mean? So there was just enough reading in high school that I was able to do the work and then put the essays together and get really good grades. And then in university, there was just too much to read, and also not enough. The structure wasn't there for me. I was just like, it was just, I was slacking, frankly. And I don't know, it just wasn't working for me. So I was like, I'm gonna back away from this. I'm gonna go back home. I'm gonna work, and I'm gonna work on my YouTube stuff, and if I want to go back, I'll go back. And so far, it hasn't happened yet.
When was that? That's 4 years ago?
Yeah, this was 2012, right as I started making YouTube videos. Yeah. So I don't know that. So that whole thing happened, and then I was sort of, getting into, acting professionally, with Smythe Casting, signing up for background roles and stuff like that, and then occasionally would audition for things, and then eventually I realized I was gonna have to do stand up. So it took me about 3 years to get on stage, just because like I just didn't know how to put together 5 minutes, or just wasn't motivated to do it because I was having success just through YouTube.
Yeah.
So once I did stand up, I realized that that's like my favorite thing to do.
Okay. So what made you do stand up? If you're having success on YouTube, because there's lots of people out there who have a lot of success on YouTube and they don't feel the need to go and do it anywhere else. What?
I guess for me, it was a thing of, this is important for what I want to do, for what I want to be. It's important that I be able to write, in my own voice, instead of and obviously I'm going to sound like a hypocrite there because I do, so like my act is really heavy on the impressions, but like the thing is, I actually I put in an audition tape for Saturday Night Live back when the YouTube stuff was first blowing up. I had an agent who was interested in helping my career along, and she helped me put together an audition tape for Saturday Night Live. And basically they didn't accept me, obviously, but they were intrigued because of the voice, the natural ability and stuff. But a big thing was like, he's too green, So doing stand up would be, a good next step as a sort of a training for whatever show business can throw at you. Because like if you can handle yourself on stage with a microphone in front of 140 people and it's just you, man, you're going to be all right for most situations, you know?
For sure.
Anyway, I love stand-up. It's honestly my favorite thing to do. And like, honestly, there's times where I hate working at the comedy club when I'm not on the show.
Of course. because
it's killing me. Yeah. Like not being in the show, and especially when it's a really good show. Yeah. And I just want to be a part of it, you know?
Of course.
And so sitting at the back of the room, working the dishwasher,
dropping glasses on purpose.
I would never do that.
So I've known you a few years now, and you've always been a stand-up comedian, and you've always seemed like a very happy person, a very focused person. And you said before, when you're at Queen's University, your head was somewhere else. You weren't in a good place, I think you said. Do you think maybe that's what you were missing? That live feeling of being on stage and that instant gratification of either it works or it doesn't work.
Yeah, that's definitely it. Part of it. I really think stand-up is therapeutic for me certainly, and if for other people, I'm sure it works for them too. A lot of what happened to me at Queens was the emotions I was going through with my dad. My dad just had a stroke, and it was like pretty bad.
Yeah.
But he's bounced back since then, and there were just other. The other thing was just like I was not living right. Like I was eating basically a bag of Doritos a night. Mm-hmm. Like I would have, like there was a pizza around the corner from my house. Mm-hmm. I would wake up around noon, go to Pizza, get a medium walk-in special, which is like $6. Mm-hmm. So thinking with my brain and my wallet, obviously. Yeah. And so I'd eat half of it for lunch, half of it for dinner, bag of Doritos, watching a movie at night.
Yeah. It's a huge part of how you feel.
So right? by the end of third year, I was 227 pounds, and it wasn't meat. You know what I mean? Yeah. I was not working out. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So I was just a big fat sad weave, and I just I just needed a change. So that's what I did. I was like I can't do this anymore, mm-hmm. and I haven't looked back. I mean, I'm happy now, mm-hmm. for sure. Yeah.
So when your dad has a stroke in the middle of this, and you realize that life is not, super long, and
it was a number of things. Like my parents both had cancer at the same time.
Wow.
Yeah, and so my dad was going in for surgery for his last colon cancer surgery, and they took him off. He's on a lot of medication because there's a history in our family of it, and so they took him off his blood thinners to do this surgery. And while he was in the hospital, fortunately he was in a hospital. Yeah. He had a stroke, right? And it was a pretty severe one. And so I was in Kingston at the time, and my aunt lives in Kingston, so we got the news that he'd had a stroke. We just bombed it back to Ottawa, and when I got there was this doctor with my mom and my brother just being all we call him Dr. Doom, because he was basically saying he may not make it out of this alive. If he does, he might be, depending on how bad it is, it might be a different sort of level of vegetative sort of state. So all that, and then I stayed on in Ottawa for a while, and then eventually his condition got a lot better. Like he was very lucky that the doctors were able to work their magic on him, and that he was in the hospital at the time it happened. And he's made practically a full recovery. I mean, he's his language isn't all there anymore. Mm-hmm. His strength on his right side isn't all there anymore, but he still golfs, he still curls, he still he can still enjoy life. He's still a normal, yeah. He's not disabled,
yeah.
Which is the way it could have gone. Mm-hmm. So
or worse.
We're all super lucky that it went the right way. Mm-hmm. But yeah, when that was happening to me as a young kid, I was 21 at the time, I guess. Mm-hmm. 20, 21. Yeah, that was tough. That was tough for me. I mean, and obviously everyone goes through their own things. Like that was something for me that I had a hard time dealing with, because I just, do I look like I've been through a lot of hard times in my life? No, I've never been through anything like that before. Mm-hmm. So I just, it took a toll on me. And then there was and then of course there was just the not doing well in school, not doing well socially, not doing well in all these aspects of my life. It was just a not good Steve at that time. Mm-hmm. But I'm not saying I would have done anything any differently, but mm-hmm. I would have.
Yeah, I mean, so you have an event like that, and it changes everything, right? It gives a new perspective on things, and you realize
it did for sure. Mm-hmm. I didn't want to be on the path I was on anymore, and also it made me want to be back home, because I was going back and forth through his rehab. I was going back every weekend, and we would watch Cowboys game together and like help him with his rehab and do his exercises and stuff like that. So after a while, it was just like I just want to be home with you guys for a while. And then it ended up being that I would be living with them until I was 27, but I've moved out now, and I'm living with Birdie now.
Yeah.
And they're great. They're great housemates.
Mm-hmm. And you have a path, and you enjoy getting up every day and working towards something that you want to be doing, right? Not a history degree.
Yeah.
But entertainment.
It was, yeah. You can't go through life, pursuing something that putting effort into something that you're not passionate about. That's the most important thing. Is just like if you're not passionate about something, then why are you doing it?
Right.
Why would you squander the short amount of time you have to be a human being by doing stuff that's not either fun or fulfilling for you?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, it's obviously we all have bills to pay, and we all have expectations put on us by ourselves or by others, but I mean, you gotta live life on your own terms.
That's right.
You know,
So,
you live life on your own terms.
I try to do move in the direction that makes me and the people around me the happiest. For sure. That's how
you have a tattoo of a lion on your arm,
mm-hmm.
and your wife as like one thing. You're living on your own terms.
That's right. This is an eagle for my kids.
Eagle for your kids, lion for you.
Me, heart for love. And that's...
Oh, is that for me?
That's for Steve Love.
The heart?
For Steve
You
Love.
got a tattoo just for me.
And then this is actually a picture of you. If I flex, it turns into Steve Love.
Nice.
That's right there. For sure. So what is the goal? You're 27. You've achieved some amazing things already, but you just moved out of your parents' basement, which obviously I understand.
I had a room, thank you. I had a room upstairs. But I realized not the coolest shit I ever did.
Yeah, but the way you just explained it is so sweet. Like you were living there to be closer to your family, right? Like, I mean, yeah, you
at first that's what it was for sure.
Yeah.
It was also just to save money.
Yes.
I mean,
and it hadn't been, if it was terrible, you wouldn't be there. You know what I mean? Like,
no,
your
like
parents are awesome.
They're the best parents. Yeah.
Right.
Like, and like. Like if they were, on my ass every day being like, why don't you go back to school and get a real job?
Yeah.
Like stuff like that, then I wouldn't have been there. But they're the most supportive people in the world, and every time I have a show or something like that, it's always, oh, can we come? This sort of thing.
Yeah. Has your dad been to many shows? I've met your mom for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
But your dad.
Don't go there.
No.
I'm just fucking with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dad's been to a couple shows.
Yeah.
Normally he comes out like when I was doing competitions. Like I don't do the competitions anymore.
Did you win them all?
I won one.
Yeah.
I won one. I was a finalist in all the others, but I won one.
Yeah.
After winning one, it's like, what's the point of
a competition?
Why do the competitions?
Yeah, for sure. So that like when you first start comedy, you look at that and you think, well, that could be a goal. I could do well in a competition, and that is a realistic goal to work towards. And like you say, now that you realize that, I won't say anything bad about competitions, but you've won a competition, so that's fine. What's the next step? We'll go next step. What's the next step?
Next step? Well, I mean, I'm thinking that like just doing more clubs, because like I feel like I'm sort of right now I'm sort of confined to Ottawa. Like I don't know people outside of Ottawa. Like I've spoken to Mark Breslin, and I know Jay at Absolute, but like I don't know anyone at any other clubs in Canada or the US, and I really just need to like start branching out and going to different places. Like I have a car. I want to go on the road. I want to do these different cities, even in this small town shows where like, you don't know what you can. It's just I just need that experience. That's something I want to do. Obviously, I would like to go from being somebody who's an opener, split middle, to somebody who can who can just host, and promoters will just say, yeah, he's a host, he's a good host.
Mm-hmm.
You know, instead of being like, I guess you can host. You know, like I just hosted this past weekend and it went really well. I think I'm a good host, so it's like I don't see why not.
Hosted the Yuck Yucks.
Yes. Me and Howie, we have a good thing going.
Okay, and so I mean, you're turning into a host. These are sort of steps, right? These are steps to take you to a goal. Like, I mean, I could.
You know what's interesting is I was cleaning out my room when I was moving out, and I found this piece of paper that had. It said Steve's goals 2013. Nice. So like I remember someone saying that like it's important to like write down your goals so that you can do it. I don't remember what all of them were, but I realized like looking at them, I'm like, holy shit! Like I can now check off a bunch of these.
Yeah. What were they?
One of them was do impressions on national TV. Check.
Okay.
Another one was do impression. So one of them was perform stand up in front of, and then there's like a subsection of like 100+ people, 1,000+ people, like live TV, like millions of people, whatever. So I was able to check off the 100 people. That's okay. It's like a regular show. And then I think one of the other things was like being a TV show, like as an actor.
Yeah,
check that off too. Yeah. So. I don't know what the other goals are, but I don't have them off the top of my head. But
that's amazing.
It's cool to be like, wow, I can check those off.
Yeah.
And so you look at yourself and you're like, obviously, you're never really satisfied.
That's right.
You always expect more of yourself than what others do or what you've produced so far. Mm-hmm. But it's okay to every once in a while look back and be like, man, I've done some pretty cool things.
Yeah.
But the best is yet to come.
That's right.
That's always the attitude to have.
Yeah, for sure.
Like you can always do better.
It is amazing though that I'm glad you shared that, because it's amazing when you write things down. Even if you don't revisit that list, your life starts moving in that direction.
Yeah.
And I posted something on Instagram, Facebook this past week. So I go to schools, give this speech, and during the speech I talk about when I saw a picture of myself.
And your speech is tremendous.
Thank you.
It's a really, really moving speech.
Thank you. That's what got me into public speaking and sort of changed my life completely. Sharing my story.
It's a great story.
Sharing my story, sharing a thing I couldn't talk about beforehand has become the greatest gift that I've had in my life, for sure, is the ability to do that and to help other people and to inspire people and to encounter people who are going through struggles and tough times and think they're alone with it, and then to hear someone get up on stage and tell a whole room full of people about the hardest time in my life has changed who I am, for sure. And it's the ability to help people. You really truly realize you're helping yourself. So I have this part in my speech when things weren't going well for me, and I went back to my apartment at university and I looked at a picture of myself playing football that year, and I looked at a picture of the Sports Illustrated magazine with pictures of NFL football players who played the same position as me. And I remember looking at
the O-lineman, right? Yeah,
that's right, the O-line edition.
I think I saw that on your.
Yeah, I did. And so I went back and I realized I look just like those guys, and there's no reason why somebody who looks kind of like me can achieve something and I can't. And I made a collage, and I tell the story how I put the picture of me in the middle, and I got a piece of Bristol board, and I put all those pictures around it. And I assumed that thing was long gone. And like a couple of days ago, my kids come out of the basement. They're like, "Dad, look what we found!" And they'd found it. Wow. It was on the back of a poster that was rolled up, so I never thought to look on it. Oh, wow. And there, up in the top left-hand corner, was the picture of me, and all the way around was the pictures of NFL football players. And it was like, wow, this is so incredible. And then, as I looked at it, I posted it, and then I looked at it on the post, and I went, I count 2 down, and there's a picture of Lomas Brown, the left tackle. So I wanted to be these guys. I wanted to be just like these guys.
Lomas Brown of the Lions?
Left tackle for the Detroit Lions. Yeah. And then I realized that when I signed my contract with the Detroit Lions, it was because Lomas Brown wasn't reporting to training camp that year.
Really?
And I took all his reps. So I, in a sense, became Lomas Brown. Before anyone thought I could make it or play in the NFL, I put a picture of Lomas Brown and me up on my wall and said, that's what I want to do. And then less than a year later, I was literally standing where he should have been.
That's so cool, man.
Isn't that unbelievable?
I know, man. My favorite Herm Edwards quote is, goal without a dream is a wish.
That's right. It is.
Wait, was it? That's not
A goal
a goal without a plan is a
without a
wish.
plan, yeah.
Goal without a dream is a wish.
Or a goal without a plan is a dream.
Yeah.
Something like
Same.
that. Yeah.
Goal
But you
without
need a
a
plan.
plan is a wish.
And this is what I tell kids. You need to have a game plan. And you need to
Yeah.
attack it every single day.
Yeah.
And there's going to be down days. There's going to be mostly down days. And those down days are things that are pointing us in the direction, right? When we
Mm-hmm.
look back, that's when we can connect the dots and go, oh, that happened and that led to this. And that these terrible, terrible things all lead us into a certain direction. And you know, when we start realizing that obstacles or roadblocks are actually stepping stones, then we can, you know, be happier and
Mm-hmm.
face each day with a positive feeling.
And you can't, as much as people expect of themselves, you can't. You have to be realistic and be like, you know, as long as you get a little bit closer each day.
Mm-hmm.
Not every day. You're not going to be able to dedicate every day to what your dream is, what your goal is. You just have to pound that rock.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
That's
you're
right.
just like chipping away at that rock, and then like you keep hitting that rock, and it seems like the rock is not going to break. But the more you keep hitting it, eventually the rock will crack.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, yeah, for sure. A little bit each day.
Take a
adds
couple
up.
swings a day.
Mm-hmm. That's for sure. So I think, your goal then is to be a headliner.
I mean, yeah. Well, this is the thing. I don't have yes, I do want to be a headliner at some point, and obviously it's going to take a lot of work. But my goal has always been to just make a living doing what I want to do on my own terms. If I can make a living doing stand-up, acting from time to time, while driving for Uber or working a job that I have fun at, or that isn't too soul crushing, you know, if I can make a living doing that, then I'm happy. As long as I get to enjoy the people I still enjoy. That's why I still live in Ottawa. There's too many people here that I love and I care about and I like want to see all the time. And that's what life is about. Life is about connections. It's not about being I as important as your goals are and wanting to achieve things. It's not the be all end all. You still gotta have people in your life that make life worth living. You know.
Yeah. Henry Burr said, "We are the 5 people who we're closest to." That was on the last podcast. Also, he reminded me of Derek Seguin. You know, Derek Seguin, the amazing Montreal comedian.
Love Derek.
He also said the same thing. He's like, if I can make a living getting up on stage and making people laugh and doing your podcast once a year, I will be the happiest man alive. I don't know if that's a Derek Seguin impression, but
That was a perfect Derek Seguin. Huh?
That's much better. That's exactly it. We find something that we love doing, that we're passionate about, and if we can get up every single day and say that's what I'm doing today, that's an incredible thing. And the fact that you get paid for it, even better, right? That's you don't have to live in your mom's basement anymore, and you're living with Nick Burden. That's fantastic.
You keep saying basement, but I had a room.
Oh, you had an actual room?
I had an actual room.
I'm not sure if a room is better than the basement, though.
Well, the basement was cool to hang out in. That's where I would like play video games and stuff. That's where the TV was. But like I would do all my YouTube videos in the room.
Okay.
And I would sleep in the room.
Yeah.
It's not as cold as the basement.
So that's the comedy. Where you want to continue. Let's fix your mic. Just point that directly into your mouth hole.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So is there like something you're heading towards in the YouTube world? Because I mean, you've done a great job. You have 20,000 subscribers, but there, you know, like I said, there's people with 7 million subscribers.
Yeah.
There's on this podcast we had Drew Lynch. He's got 1 million subscribers. Right? There are ways to make that happen. And for him, he said, my goal this year is he had 500,000 subscribers, is to have 1 million subscribers. And I'm like, okay, how'd you do that? And he's like, okay, well, I got better equipment. I got a camera over here. I started, you know, I made a plan every once a week. I was going to sit down to write down what I was going to talk about, and then I would talk about it, and that would help my stand up.
Okay, so I should be writing this down, is what you're saying.
Well, we can talk about it. You can listen to the podcast again.
I will, but come back and listen to this and critique how my voice sounds and how stupid I sound.
It's
how
rich and beautiful.
Well, that's the thing is, like, as an impersonator, I personally don't like the sound of my own voice.
Interesting, because you can change it and be anyone you want.
Exactly.
How do you do that? How do you impersonate somebody? Let's go through that, because it's a very rare talent.
Somebody somebody broke it down on such a sophisticated level that I never thought of it as like anything more than just like me hearing it and replicating it.
Do you picture the character in your head?
Basically, yeah. I just try to live in that character for a second, and just like the voice, if the voice will either come to me naturally or it doesn't. If it doesn't, I can try and work on it, and even if I work on it, it still might not work. Just because either the voice is too common, the voice is too plain, or I just don't have it in my wheelhouse. Like I don't have it in my register. But like, it's sort of like if I want to do Michael Caine, I just sort of slip into it. A British. It's a very old British man. She was only 16 years old. You could swap not sleeping in a penthouse, sleeping in a mansion. I don't even know any Michael Caine lines, but like you just I don't know. Somebody asked me like, so it's amazing how you can go from hearing a voice, internalize it, and extrapolate the vocal resonances and then replicate it right on the spot. I'm like, that is the most sophisticated way of explaining how I put on voices and be silly that I've ever heard. I never even thought of it on a sophisticated level like that. I completely butchered the expression she used, but I just never thought of it like that.
Well, there's making the sound, and then there's the cadence as well, right? Like you can't just make the same sound; you have to do it at the same pace,
and you have to be funny.
And there has to,
so like that Michael Caine thing didn't work because it wasn't funny. I didn't say anything funny.
Something out of character for that person, right?
Do you know how to do a Michael Caine impression? It's pretty simple.
Oh yes, I do. There you go.
No, you just go like a low British accent and say my cocaine.
My cocaine.
My cocaine.
My cocaine.
My cocaine.
My cocaine.
My cocaine. No, not Michael Caine.
Oh.
My.
Oh, how you say
cocaine.
his name?
Like my cocaine. This is my cocaine.
My cocaine.
My cocaine.
Yeah, I'm terrible at impressions. I don't know if it's because I don't practice.
It's because your own personality is too strong. You are so you, and you're so comfortable in your own skin that you can't enter someone else's. You can only be Mark Hatfield.
Can you do a Mark Hatfield impression?
Hey, welcome to Yuck Yucks. I'm Mark Hatfield. Let's hear it from this side of the room. Let's hear it from this side of the room.
You forgot the punchline.
My name is Mark Hatfield, and I've played 6 years in the NFL and the 6 years in the CFL, and managed to get away without any serious head injuries. Hello, I'm Mark Hatfield.
That's that funny? I'm going to use it again. That's good. That was really good. That's so strong.
Such a strong personality.
Yeah.
I hear that there's a guy who gives out his football cards to guys he wants to sleep with.
That's a huge joke. I'm going to use it tonight. I'm going to do that joke tonight.
Where are you tonight?
Yuck Yucks Comedy Club on Elgin Street.
Oh, yeah.
292 Elgin.
Oh, I'll have to come check it out.
Yeah. It's a good spot. It's the coolest spot in town.
It is. It's the best location of the two clubs in town.
Yeah. It's an amazing location for anything.
Yeah.
It's right in the middle of Elgin Street, downstairs.
And
cool.
The fact that they share a kitchen with Hooley's, like people don't think of Hooley's as like a dining place, but their menu is
delicious.
Like their kitchen's amazing.
Yeah, I eat chicken wings there regularly for sure.
Their wings, they have all these amazing items. They have hummus. They have pita bread pizza, the nachos, fucking everything.
Favorite impressions.
Favorite impressions.
I love the Stewie. I love. Makes me laugh so much.
Oh, did you listen to my my answering machine? Have you ever called my phone? Because I have a ring answering machine. The outgoing is Stewie, and he says, "This is Stuart Gilligan Griffin. You've reached the cell phone of Steve Love, the impressionist and comedian, and many other things. And if you leave he's not here right now, but if you leave your name and number, I'm pretty sure he'll call you back. So why don't you go ahead and leave that message? Go ahead and leave that message you've been working on.
You've been working on. That's good.
Yeah, I work on messages for people.
Oh, you have to, right?
No,
you don't
I
want to sound
don't.
like a fool.
Like while you're listening to the outgoing, you're like, oh fuck, what am I gonna say? God damn it.
Yeah.
Hi, hi, Stacy. This is Steve Love calling. As per our last email, I just try to get in touch with you. We're playing a bit of phone tag here. Anyway, when my car's ready for pickup, why don't you just call me back? 613 like blah blah blah. Even though everyone has caller ID now, you don't have to leave.
So do you do an impression every time you leave a message for anyone?
No. I just don't leave messages. If a person doesn't answer their phone, I'll just text them.
I hate when people leave a message because then you got to go through the whole process of trying to
Yeah,
listen to
the
it.
iPhone process.
Just text me.
Yeah, just text me.
Just text me.
Well, I don't enjoy talking on the phone anyway because, like I said, I've had so as long as I've had a cell phone, I've had people tell me that I'm terrible on the phone. Like my voice sounds like you just sound depressed. And it's literally just because I'm like, hey, what's up? What's going on?
Yeah, say
All right.
something funny.
Right.
You're a funny guy, aren't you? Make a
Yeah,
voice.
but no, these are just my friends I'm talking about. Like they're just like, why do you sound so bummed? It's just like, yeah, well, whatever. Life is bummy.
Yeah, it can be.
It can be,
Especially when I'm on the answering machine.
Two sides to every coin.
Yeah, I want to be doing something else.
Yeah.
Trump's been big for you, the Trump impression.
I like doing Trump. It's a good impression. It's a great impression. Maybe not the best impression, but there are a few people who can do the Trump, the gesticulations, the bravado. No one's more brave than me. No one's braver than me. I called Rocket Man for a reason because I got balls the size of an elephant trunk. I like doing that one because that's a fun character to slip into.
Yeah,
it's fun because you know that it gets a reaction no matter what.
No matter what. The
No
second you
matter
start
what.
doing Trump, everyone pays attention. Everyone laughs.
That's why it's the first impression I do in my act.
Okay.
Not including Jesus. I sort of it's universal. That's the biggest thing is universality because I have Game of Thrones impressions, but obviously not everyone watches that show.
Yeah.
The majority of people do now.
Yeah.
But there's always going to be those people that are like, yeah, I don't even watch Game of Thrones, but like your voices are funny. And other things like movie stars, like everyone, I guess practically everyone knows Matthew McConaughey, but
Yep.
like some people will still be like, oh, that's who you were doing? And maybe it was just a shitty impression. No, okay. But I like doing Gollum, which is like another one that like not everybody watches Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. I don't.
You don't know Lord of the Rings?
No, but when you go into a voice, and I
But if I start talking close into the microphone,
I think I could do that.
say, my precious
I think I could do that one.
Hatfield, Stephen Love, does it have a football jersey on? Is it going to show us its Fireman Pictures catalogue? Yes.
Yes.
Yes, elephant trunks, precious.
That's good. So the Jimmy Kimmel thing, how did that come about? That was the Game of Thrones. So he's watching YouTube or he's Googled.
Jimmy Kimmel tweeted a video that I made back in 2012. So he tweeted that one, and then for a long time I didn't hear anything from him. And then I kept making Game of Thrones videos, so there's sort of like an online catalog of me doing silly, different sort of themed videos of that. And then I got in my YouTube inbox, I get this message being like, hey, I'm a producer at Jimmy Kimmel, and we were wondering if you wanted to do Game of Thrones impressions on the Jimmy Kimmel Show. So the account was Jimmy Kimmel Live, but it had 0 followers. So I'm like, that's sketchy. like that makes no sense. So I'm like, do you want to explain your user thing here? Like, what's going on here? He's like, oh, I'm a producer. It's just I use this account to like reach out to people that we use for our Wall of America segments. Because like they do this thing where like they have viral videos of like, you know, there was a video that made the rounds a couple years ago of like and this was actually on the same episode that I was on.
Okay.
It's a grandpa who like hated his garage door, and his bucket list was to reverse through the garage door because he hated it so much.
Okay.
So that's like a video that was online, and then Kimmel found it, thought it was great, and he brought the people onto the show to talk about it. That's like the Wall of America segment. That's the same segment that I did, right? So this guy he reaches out to people for that purpose. So he was like, so I called him. And he broke it down and was like, yeah, we're going to do this thing where, you know, you guys, you and these other impressionists from YouTube are going to do Jon Snow or whatever. And we'll have someone on the show whenever we have someone on the show. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And so I didn't hear back from him for, you know, like months. So I'm like, well, I guess this isn't happening. And then finally got a call from him out of the blue. He said, we booked Kit Harington for June 10th. That's when you're going to be on the show. So had my webcam internet scenario all set up. We did a rehearsal, and during the day that was like, so I'm on the like sort of video chat with the live, like the stage at Jimmy Kimmel, and then the other guys who are doing the impressions, and we're all chatting and stuff. And then it's like, all right, Jimmy's gonna come out now. And it's like, oh shit. So Jimmy Kimmel came out, said a little, hey, how's it going? What's up? No. Didn't have his hair was all, you know, freshly washed.
Okay. Look good or
like not like
not
done
fancy.
up,
Okay.
not done up, just
oh.
like down.
Yeah.
Wearing his hair down. And I don't know. I just had a massive erection the whole time. No,
Of course you did.
I'm kidding. So like we did like a little rehearsal, and then the producer pulls me aside on the screen. So like he mutes the other guys, and it's just me and him in conversation now. He's like, so Jimmy wants you to do more impressions. Like we're all just gonna do the Jon Snow. And he's like, can you also do this, this, and this? And I was like, yeah, I can do that. So when we went to do the live segment, I was basically like, everybody, those two guys did their Jon Snow impression, and then he's like, all right, Steve, do this guy, do this guy, do this guy. And I was basically given like basically just to say whatever you want.
Yeah.
So I basically ad-libbed lines for a couple different characters. Then I did the Jon Snow thing where I like read off a shampoo bottle or whatever.
Okay.
And yeah, that was that. I was super happy about that. Got to do a little bit of local media for that. Actually, I did Canada AM after that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because it's like that was back. It was like, you know, it was like a kid from Ottawa. You know, kid from Ottawa does this thing, and it was pretty cool. And so then, the day after I did all these media appearances, we're headed up to my cottage. I was having friends up to the cottage, and we're getting close to where my cottage is, and like on the last little turnoff. And my buddy's driving. I'm like in the passenger seat. I'm like, I'm just gonna check my email in case something's, you know, somebody wants me to do another thing here or there. And check my email, and it's from Dan Weiss and David Benioff, and the subject line is "Hello from Game of Thrones." And they were like, "Hey, we're fans of we've been watching your videos for a while now, and." They said they liked it, and
They're the producers, or
yeah, they're the showrunners, like
Okay.
creators, writers, producers.
Okay.
They're the head honchos of Game of Thrones.
Okay.
And they were like, yeah, we love your videos, and seeing you on Kimmel reminded us of how awesome you are, and we were wondering if you wanted to do a scene on the show. Either way, you know, thanks for all the laughs. And then they made like a reference to one of my videos where I do Jorah Mormont doing a Biggie lyric.
Okay.
Just like, my man Imf left a tech and a 9 at my crib, Khaleesi. And they made a reference to that, and I thought it was the most amazing thing ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, we've been trying to get that into the show for years, but we haven't figured it out yet. And I was just like so blown away, like over the moon excited. Like how could you say no to that?
Yeah.
Right? You immediately get it back on the horn. He's like, I'd love to. Like, send me all the details. Da, da, da.
Yeah.
And so I told my agent about it, and she was like, these are Gmail accounts. This just says like Dan123 at Gmail or whatever it is. And it's like, I was like, she was like, this could just be someone messing with you. And I'm like, why would anyone do that?
Yeah.
Nobody's
that
but
mean.
then I immediately, obviously just put the doubt in my mind, that I was like, oh, fuck, this isn't happening. But they figured it out. They did a research, and they figured out that they got my email from someone at Kimmel who they knew. So it was all, obviously it all worked out.
That's awesome. And what's the time frame from then until you went to do the show?
That was in June 12th, 2015. I got the call, the email, I should say, and then over the summer there was a lot of negotiations between my agent and the production, and then a lot of NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, a lot of contracts that needed to be signed and printed, signed and scanned and shipped, and so on and so forth. And then they sent me a script. Then they sent not the whole episode, just my scene, and there were code names and stuff. Like, wow. I didn't know that the character in the scene was ultimately the character in the scene. I guessed based on how he read. Okay. And then there was like they needed my measurements for like costumes and stuff. They needed pictures of me for their hair and makeup department. And then they flew me out to Belfast. I think it was October 25th. Something. So in that area.
Within a year, you were on Kimmel, and then you shot the Game of Thrones.
Yeah, and then the Game of Thrones, the episode itself aired almost a year, almost to the day from the Kimmel appearance.
And you never told anybody you were on the Game of Thrones till it was on.
I told my friends and my friends and family knew, obviously, and women I wanted to sleep with. Yeah, that's about it.
Same thing, isn't it? Sorry.
Yeah, friends and family, friends and future family. Yeah, it was. I had to keep it a secret. Yeah, I couldn't tell people incredible. It was on the show. They didn't want people to know, because I guess it was a cameo or whatever. But yeah, I still maintain that like the going over to Northern Ireland and shooting it and having fun with the people I was working with, and the whole experience. And then of course I went some other places in Europe while I was over there. I went to Dublin, I went to Amsterdam, I went to visit my friend in Belgium. It was a great trip. So that whole experience to me is, I cherish it more than the watching of the episode and the response from people, Yeah,
it's about the journey, not the destination, for sure.
Yeah.
Taking every day, living every day like it might be your last. And that's amazing, man. That's been an hour and 10 minutes.
Yeah?
Yeah. Thanks for doing this. We'll shake hands.
I don't know if I can shake such a hand here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very nice. That was awesome, man. Appreciate it.
Well, thanks for having me. It's about goddamn time.
Yeah, for sure.
You're always like, man, we gotta have you on the podcast. I'm like, okay, cool. When? It's like, man, I have Henry Burris this week. You got bumped for a legend.
I'll have my people get in touch with your people, and we'll go over a script.
How was that?
Amazing. Yours is amazing too, but every minute of his is just so much to take in and amazing. I've been going through it since we did it and taking out parts, and it's incredible. He's an amazing person. He's been through so much that his brain works in a certain way to take him in that direction to be successful at the things that he does. He's an incredible person for sure.
He's working for legend, first of all, obviously, but he's working for is he working for CTV Ottawa?
Yeah,
now?
he does the morning show every morning. Gets up at 3:30 and
Just crushes it.
Crushes it for sure.
Looks great on TV.
He looks great in person. He's a very delicious man for sure, and the way he's very suit and
Delicious.
very well put together, man.
Nice.
Dresses nice. Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot, Henry Burris, for being so delicious.
And that's